Do you know what pisses me off about this story? Besides the obvious, it's that the political discussion that we should be having around this story, and by the way, when I say political, I mean how do we as a society use stories like this to make sure that this sort of thing never happens again? The discussion we should be having is about why it took 18 years for those girls to find justice, or at least whatever justice was available. The discussion we should be having is, what is it about our society that made those girls feel for 18 years that if they came forward, they wouldn't be able to get justice, and how do we change that? Because it's only because the National Crime Agency identified them as potential victims, then went to speak to the women, who then opened up about what happened to them as kids. So there are several obvious logical next steps. 1. Keeping girls safe from grown men at that age. 2. Having better education so that every child knows that a relationship between a 13-year-old and a grown adult can never be consensual. So that if something like that happens, everybody around would know that that is something that needs to be reported. Which leads us to 3, having a society where women and girls know that if they report something like this, there is a reasonable likelihood that it will be successfully prosecuted. Compared to the absolute disgrace that we have now, where less than 2% of rapists even see a courtroom. Which only adds to the problem that many victims don't even think it'll be worth going through the additional trauma of the prosecution process, and so they drop out. So ultimately it boils down to creating a society where the victims of abuse know that they will at least probably be believed. But we're not able to have that discussion, because it's being drowned out by these two, the Reform Party, trying to say that child sexual exploitation is a specifically Asian men problem. And before Richard Tice tries to sue me again, he has said that explicitly. And so when a story like this comes up, I have to split my focus. How much do I focus on the discussion we should be having around believing female victims? And for the record, it's Reform Party policy to not believe victims.
So I'm on his side. I disagree with what else is saying.
So you don't think he kicked her then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm trusting James. He's bang on the money. And I think that what he says is right. He was there. The court wasn't there. The Times weren't there.
Well, the victim was there as well, right?
Yeah, and they're going to have a disagreement.
And how much do I focus on playing defense by saying, hey, stop attacking Asian men, this isn't a race issue? Because most grooming gangs are made of white men, and so if you actually cared about protecting the victims, you wouldn't be focusing all your energy on the 3.6% of offences against children committed by Asian people. And so it disgusts me that because of the right, when a story like this comes out, we have to split our focus between protecting the victims of child exploitation and protecting the ethnic minority people who the right had hunted last summer.